I'm going to cover two subjects today, and one of them is the immortal soul. Where did the whole concept of you have an immortal soul come from? And you will be shocked to find out its pagan roots. And the other subject is the tree of life, which is, of course, gives you eternal life as long as you're eating of it. That's right. I said it correctly. So how do you go about receiving an immortal soul if you don't have one? Well, let's first find out where the whole idea of immortal soul came from. All right? So I typed in, where did the immortal soul doctrine come from? It started in ancient Egypt. The pillar of paganism in the ancient world. The historian Herodotus documented that Egyptians were the first to teach that the soul is immortal. Ancient Babylon, the idea of a soul that survives death, is also in ancient Babylonian civilization. Zoroastrianism. Some scholars also point to Zoroastrianism, an ancient Persian religion, as a potential source of the immortal soul concept, which may have influenced other cultures. Then we have Greece, the Hellenes. And those of you who understand Jewish thought, you know exactly what I'm implying here. The ancient Greeks, including the Pythagoras and Socrates, adopted the Egyptian view of an immortal soul. Plato was a key figure in popularization of this ancient Egyptian thought. Into the concept of the Greek world, he taught that the body exists, but the immortal soul, a non-material entity, continues to exist. Fusion of ideas. Plato's philosophy was influenced by a blend of Babylonian and Egyptian pagan ideas about the soul and afterlife. So now we see that the Christian immortal soul ideology, and yes, if it's in Judaism, it is also paganism. See, after the Babylonian exile, the concept of an immortal soul with a conscious existence after death entered mainstream Judaism, though views varied and concept of soul sleep also existed. Okay? The idea of immortal soul in Christianity became a significant theological doctrine in Christianity, particularly by the 2nd century. It was integrated, so it wasn't taught by the disciples. It wasn't taught by Yehoshua. It was integrated into Christian thought at the late 2nd century. Often alongside the concept of bodily resurrection, forming a complex framework for understanding life and death. Okay? And it just goes on. So, you can read some more of this. The concept of immortal soul in Judaism evolved, moving from an emphasis on the physical body-soul unit to the idea that the soul, nefesh, separates from the body in death and persists as a form of consciousness either in the world to come or through reincarnation. That is pure paganism. That happened by being exposed to the Babylonians, the Persians, and the Greeks, as you have just learned. So, does a man have an immortal soul? And Where did this idea that a man have a mortal soul come from? It goes all, we find it, the answer back in Genesis 3. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which not the Lord. It says Yehovah. That's what it says, not the Lord. Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, yes, Elohim said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden. And woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the middle of the garden, Elohim has said, you shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. But we read, he didn't say, you shall not touch it. Adam told her not to touch it. If you read back a little bit further, it's by default, Adam told her not to touch it. Okay? And the serpent said unto the woman, you shall not surely die, for Elohim knows, and in the day that you eat, your eyes will be open, and you shall be Elohim. You will be like him, knowing good and evil. Now, what did Jehovah say to Adam? Jehovah Elohim took the man and put him in the garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And Jehovah Elohim commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat of it, for the day that you eat thereof you shall die. Die, die. Die. In other words, not living. What about this? Do you not understand, you Gentiles? And some of you Jews who are Hellenistic. Well, I want to show you the tree of life. Okay? Hold on. We go to chapter 3 again. In verse 11, he said, who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree where I commanded you that you should not eat? And the man said, the woman you gave unto me to be with me, she gave of me of the tree, and I did eat. So he clearly wasn't there when she was grabbing the fruit, listening to the serpent. All right, listen carefully. And Jehovah Elohim said unto the woman, what is this that you have done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me. Didn't say the serpent beguiled us. She said the serpent beguiled me, not us. Because there was no us there. She was there by herself. And did eat. Now, because you hearken unto the voice of your wife. So down here, in verse 17, this was Adam's sin, right here. He said unto Adam, because you hearkened, you heard, because you obeyed. the voice of your wife. You obeyed your wife like a little puppy dog. You were a simp for your wife. You didn't tell her, no, I refuse to eat of it. And you have eaten of the tree which I commanded you, saying, you shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for your sake, and sorrow shall you eat all the days of your life. And in the sweat of your face you will eat bread, and you will return to the ground. No, you will not be reincarnated. No, you will not receive a different body. You will go into the ground, for out it was that you were taken. For dust you are, and dust you shall return. No immortal soul. Who was it that told him who told her that she had an immortal soul? For Elohim does know that in the day you eat of it, then your eyes will be open, and you shall be Elohim. That was a lie. Elohim has an immortal soul. He is immortal. She is not immortal. So that's where the concept of naturally having an immortal soul came from. Satan himself. Now, how do you qualify to have eternal life? Well, how do you qualify? That's not the... How does it occur? Now, this statement that I'm going to show you, that I'm going to tell you, is in the book of Revelation. How it's going to occur, by what means it's going to occur, in clear black and white, or in this case blue and white, you will understand, but the vast majority of you will reject this truth out of hand, because you have chosen paganism, Egyptian paganism, Persian paganism, and Greek ideology, aka also paganism, over the truth. So I'm going to show this to you in such a way that even a 7-year-old can understand. This is only mentioned right here once. Verse 7, he that has an ear, let him hear what the Ruach, not the Spirit, but the Ruach says unto the congregations. To him that overcomes, to him that conquers, to him that prevailed. You do realize that Israel means prevailed with Elohim, right? Will I give to eat of the tree of life? Did Abraham prevail? Yes, he did. Did Yitzhak prevail? Yes, he did. Did Sarah? Yes, she did. Did Israel, Jacobi, prevail? Yes, he did. You see where I'm going with this. So he says, Yehoshua says, not Jesus, but his name is Yehoshua. To him that overcomes will I give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of Elohim. You see, the Garden of Eden is going to be brought back. And it's going to be sitting where? In front of, I'll show you. This is not hard to understand. But the problem is with you Christians and a lot of you Jews, you have abandoned the truth and you have chosen Hellenism, Egyptian paganism, and Persian paganism over the truth. Revelation 22. So where in Greek or Egyptian or Persian ideology does it go back to the tree of life? It does not. This does. So we have to go with this, since this recalls the beginning in the book of Genesis. So we're talking the river of life. Verse 1, and he showed me a pure river of water of life, living water, clear as crystal, proceeding where? Out of the throne of Elohim and of the Lamb, in the midst of the street, a wide road. On either side of the river, there was the tree of life. When has your preacher mentioned this? He won't. And the reason why your preacher won't mention this is because this is an opposition to their pagan ideology of you naturally have an immortal soul, that pagan ideology that was sold to you by Satan, the devil himself, from the beginning. On either side of the river was the tree of life, which bore 12 manner of fruits. Yes. Why? For the 12 tribes of Israel. And yielded her fruit in every month. Now, not just Israel, but those who are grafted in the branches of Israel. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the Gentiles. Healing from what, you might ask? Well, I would venture to guess probably from all the nuclear fallout from that great nuclear war that took place just before this event. So and the throne of the Lamb and shall be in, okay. There shall be no more curse, but the throne of Elohim, not God, and of the Lamb shall be in it. In what? And his servants shall serve him, and they shall see his face, and his name shall be in their foreheads. What name is that? All right, let me show you something. Jeremiah 16 and verse 19. Yehovah. They will have that name in, not on, in their foreheads. In other words, this is the name they think of when they think of their Creator. Yehovah. My strength and my fortress, my refuge in the day of adversary. That means in the great tribulation in the last days. The Gentiles shall come from the ends of the earth, and they shall say, our fathers possessed, taken possession of, lies. Vanity. It says to confer or gain profit. It could mean of no profit, or it might mean they did it for profit. Who knows? Shall a man create idols for himself that are not Elohim? This will occur. And they shall know. I will cause them to know my right hand and my might. And they shall know that my name is Yehovah. And many of you listening to this video, you will hear this and you will walk away and you will still use idolatrous names. If you bother to read Revelation 22, the people who he gives the tree of life to, the fruit of the tree of life, are going to have his name in their forehead. His name shall be in their forehead. And there you have it, folks. There is the truth. I dare you to believe it. I dare you to grow a set of balls and believe the truth.